right. So, I've been getting some comments, right? And those comments, because I covered a little bit about MK Trilogy coming out, and I reviewed it, the Good Old Games version. People are having a lot of issues getting this working with 1, 2, and 3, right? And 4's a little bit tricky too. I actually ended up having to use a third party. So I'm going to do Mortal Kombat 4 separate because MK1 and 2 and 3 were like, they're part of a pack, right? Now, if you right click on your game, right, you have some options here. Okay, you've got things like you can edit the graphic options however you like, right? You can change the size of the window, things like that. So that's all in there too. I don't know if you guys knew that. If you click on the game itself and then come up to the top here, right? This is all very important. Go manage installation and show folder, right? And once you do that, it's going to open up the folder that the game is in, right? Now this next part is incredibly important, okay? It's the only file that you need to configure, right? And every single one of these 3 games has the associated file. It's this one right here, right under DOSBox configurator, DOSBox Mortal Kombat.config or conf. There's another one for MK2 in the MK2 folder, and there's one for MK3, right? And there is the first step. There's one thing you need to do to set it up. I know a lot of people going, oh well, you know, I'm just going to play with a Y controller or something like that. No, don't do that, man. I've been using this, dude. I've run Windows 10. I've been using this, right? It takes a little bit because what you're dealing with here is essentially DOS released games, right? That you're having to sort of work around a little bit for. So what happens is you right click on the file, you go open with, you select Notepad, right? And this is what you get, right? Now, right? And this applies to MK1, MK2, MK3. This is the first step. You scroll down until you find, where is it? Keep going, keep going, keep going. This part here, where it's got joystick type, this part here. So if you press Control F and then type in joystick type or whatever, right? And then press enter, you'll come down. But you will find this. Now, I think this is set to auto or something like that or whatnot. Change this to FCS. FCS, right? And you do that for MK1, you do that for MK2, and you do that for MK3 for the files DOSBox Mortal Kombat.conf or Mortal Kombat 2.conf or Mortal Kombat 3.conf. You do that, go save, done. That's it, right? Now MK3, there's a little bit more to it, but this is the next trick, right? And you do this for all 3 anyway. So let's run the game, right? Now when you run the game, if you hold down left control and press F1, it brings up this menu here, right? And you're probably looking at this going, man, what the fuck? What do I do here, right? And it's really very simple. So Control F1 brings this up. I'm going to show you exactly what it does, right? Now for Mortal Kombat 1 and 2, to get into like the menu, right? You press F10, all right? And this is how you get into the menu. Always choose keyboard control type. Always. Every single time. And what you do is, you come down to where it's got player 1 keys, and then you can actually set up your buttons, right? Now, I set up my 4 keyboard. I always do this for a fighting game. If for some odd reason I wasn't ever going to be able to use a controller. I use W, S, A, and D for my movement keys, like for my arrows. And then I use J for low punch, U for high punch, K for block, L for low kick, circle for high kick, and then I for run for when we get to MK3. Now watch this, right? So we're gonna put in all the buttons, right? Okay. And we're done. And then you go save. So now I can, if I want to play with that configuration, I can play Mortal Kombat 1 or Mortal Kombat 2 in this manner, and I'm fine. So yeah, but that doesn't help me, Retro. I want to use the fucking controller. Well, never fear, dear. Control F1. We go back into this menu right here. Right? Now let me see. Just so I can zoom in a little bit for you guys. Is that going to work? Is that not help? I don't think that helps. I don't think that help. That bit help. Let me do. Let's unlock that. I just want to drag this in. There we go. All right. I was trying the magnifying tool on Windows. That's why I had a kerfuffle. Now, when you click on anything in this game, right? Okay, the only thing that matters is this. When you say, okay, so you've got your keyboard set up for movement, W, S, A, and D, right? When I press on W, right, down here you've got event and you've got bind. And this is really simple. This is all you do. Ready? Watch. So I'm now going to bind my up on the D-pad. I'm going to click add, press up, and we're done. For down, I click add, press down on the D-pad. For A, I press add and left, and then D and add and right. So what this does is that when you save this and then exit, the game thinks that you're using the keyboard, but you're actually using your controller. And then you make sure that you have matched the keyboard buttons for the associated attack, block, and eventually run button with MK3, right? And you do the exact same thing. You click on the button, like the letter, click add, press the associated button. That's it. That's all you got to touch in those settings. Control F1 opens that up. You click save, right? Click exit, and you're back into the game. Now, just one final thing, going back, Control F1. To start the game, player 1 or player 2, it's F1 or F2. So I put the start button on the controller, I put that on F1, right? So that way, when I load the game up, I'm just starting my game, right? Now let's just stretch that back out again, because it looks bloody stretch the screen. There we go, right? And now, right, using my button, using my my D-pad, right, holding block, right, got sweep, uppercut, right, if I can get him, there we go, right, high kick, roundhouse, right, low punch, although holding down low punch does an uppercut as well. I think that might have been a PC thing. I'm pretty sure you can't do that in the arcade one, all right? And that's fine. Now, if you press, now, okay, so all right, so that's the basic control, all right? So we'll just close that. So you set your keyboard buttons up first, and the same, I'm going through all three of these games. You're going to see all the way through, right? Okay. It's the same way all again. Press F10 once it eventually loads up, right? Press F10. You come in, you can select your difficulty, right? Sound Blaster, always leave it on Sound Blaster, right? You set your player keys, exit and save, then you press Control F1. You come back in and do the same trick I just showed you for MK2, right? You make sure that you mimic, right, each direction and each button press, and then click add, and then the button on your controller, so the game thinks that you're actually using a it thinks you're using the keyboard, but you're actually not, right? God, this sounds a bit weird, eh? It's definitely not the full proper arcade sound, and they've modified some stuff. Like, you don't ever start, right, with the fucking, the chain, like, over you like that. And don't worry, I am going to get around to reviewing each of these, right? Because these are wonderful. These are a blast from the past, right? So MK1 and 2, right? You press F10, set up your keys, press Control and then F1, right? Or hold Control, press F1, sorry. You map the buttons, right, of your controller to the keys that you've set, and that's it. Now, And of course, you obviously do the thing in the very beginning that I told you about. Now, with MK3, there's something extra that you have to do, right? And I noticed this bug. And keep in mind, all of these tips and tricks are not something I figured out. This is, you know, information that I have garnered together from the helpful people on the Good Old Games forum, finding help threads and stuff like that, right? You obviously set up the controller thing, like I said, with the FCC. Again, that's in the beginning of the video, right? Now, you need to also come down to this part here where it's got the CPU type, cycle, cycle up, cycle down, and core. You need to find that part in just the MK3 config file. Okay, so you've set up the other part for the joystick. You need to find this part too. You need to change this. I think it's like on something really low. Something really low. Anyway, you can change up to 60,000 for safety. I go control, save, and done. Now the reason for that is simple. Okay, if you do not change that, right, as soon as you go into the character select screen, like within like 2 seconds, it's going to choose a character for you, like straight up, right? You won't have a choice. Okay, you'll start moving around and it'll instantly select something and you'll be like, fuck man, this is shit, right? Now, you can also do the same trick. Like I said, hold left control, press F1, all right? And in this game, right, I think, what did I have? What was the menu selection? What was that for? Was it an F key or was it simply just enter? I think it might have been just possibly enter, right? On this screen, always press escape, all right? Don't configure your controller. Just press escape, right? That's right, press enter. There we go, nice and... Actually, no, it's not. Enter. It's one of the ones. I'll figure it out in a sec. Anyway, which one is it? It is... It's not F1, is it? F9, F10... Fuck it. Anyway, so first and foremost, when you go into your controls, don't calibrate joystick. Don't do that. Don't do that at all. All right, you go in, okay, and you set up your keys. I do it the same key buttons as well. W, A, S, and D, J, K, L, U, and now I for run, and then circle for the high kick button, right? I set that up, right, and then I just quit the game. I just quit the game, so it saves it, and then I can launch back up into it straight away, and it will save those buttons. And then, like I pointed out already, hold down left control, F1, come in, set your buttons, and Bob's your uncle. I'm going to figure out which one I bound my start key to, because one of them is fucking doing it. I don't know, I can't remember which one it was. Right, to get into the damn menu. Wasn't that. No, that's not that either. Right. So, now, I've got these ones. So, for example, this is a good thing, actually. So, if you've accidentally bound your keys, right, to a wrong button type, right, you can click on it and just delete it, and it will remove the key binding that you actually had. All right. And that's very, very cool. Right. So, we're going to just add these ones back in because I did this one fresh, right? So that way you guys could see, right? So we got low punch there, block, low kick, high punch, run, high kick, low kick, high kick. Anyway, you know what I'm saying, right? Press escape, right? It might be escape actually to get to the menu. Yeah, there you go. Just press escape. God, I'm a dickhead. All right. So like I said, just like the other ones, you set that all up the way you want. Okay. And then you press start. Now, if you don't change that cycle thing that I showed you, it'll literally 2 seconds later, you'll choose your character. And if I don't press a button, it chooses. It's really fast, right? Like it's insanely fast. I might try going higher than 60,000 for those cycles. But ultimately, that's fast enough generally for you to, like, you know, to choose a character, right? Give it a rest, right? Oh, fuck me. See if I can remember my combo. Almost got it. Almost fucking got it. Always love that Shangers, right? So, that is how you set up your controls for, right, for Mortal Kombat 1, 2, and 3. If you go through step by step and do all of that, you'll be like me, happy camper using your controller. Alright? So, don't forget, just to finalize, when you first run the game, set up your keyboard controls, so then that way when you hold down control and press F1, you can then map your controller to the button presses that you have selected on your keyboard that you would be pressing if you were just using the keyboard, but in reality it's actually going to be mimicked via your controller. All right, always make sure you click save first before you quit, press exit, and then off you go. And then you too can sit there and use a controller to play these games. I'm not using them wired or anything like that, it's just a standard Xbox One controller, and that's it. So anyway guys, I'll leave it there. Let me know what you think. I'm pretty sure I've covered everything for that. I'm going to be doing an MK4 video separate because it's a little bit different. It's not difficult, it's just different. Anyway guys, catch you next time.